thought you might want to know.
I used to use Ubuntu a lot. Can you pass me those?
Okay. If you are watching this and the quality looks a bit better than that other little couple minute one, you can thank Josh.
Welcome.
So I upped the quality to ultra, which I hope means that it's really good. I'm only expecting 1080p. I would never call that ultra, but okay. Thank you, Panopto, for sucking sometimes. All right, well, let's take a look at where we left our heroes. Somebody tell me what the heck we are looking at here. What is this aftermath?
Ubuntu.
Okay, the operating system is Ubuntu Linux. Ubuntu, not Ubuntu. Well, you can Americanize it if you want to. But if you say long use, Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. Where does Ubuntu stem from?
Ubuntu, what do you think?
Oh, I know.
Does anybody know where's Ubuntu come from? What does it sound like, a Russian word?
Sounds like Chinese.
Does not sound like Chinese.
Ubuntu. It's African.
It doesn't sound like Swedish.
Is it African?
Yeah! What do you think it means?
Panther.
A quality that includes the essential
Is it not
for
Panther?
human virtues, compassion, and humanity. South Africa.
I am because we are.
All right. So we have Ubuntu with Ubuntu. All right. This is not just an operating system, it's also our class. Except we chose Kali. Where's Kali from?
Ukraine.
Israel.
Not from Ukraine.
No, where's it from? Isn't it Israeli?
India, correct. It's a god. Is. Goddess.
How did you
Lie. All right.
Hello?
Oh, don't upgrade right now. Ask me later, that's fine. Okay.
What a terrible security professor.
Okay. Never mind. Let's go back, Keith, and let's say upgrade now. And let's sit here for 30 minutes while it upgrades. When I'm already 15 minutes late.
We had a tour guide come through with some kids. You just weren't even here to talk about the program.
What time?
2:40.
Right at 2:40?
Yes.
Who was leading them? Was it a random ambassador?
Some
Sweet.
some
Okay.
older woman. Young woman. Did someone say older woman?
Whoa!
She ain't.
Were they wanting to know about cybersecurity?
Okay.
Why couldn't they talk to you guys?
I think it was great.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's better than me. Nobody. Who cares about me?
You're not the computer science.
You guys are the best people, not me. All right, so where we last left our heroes. What the heck is this grep nulluk etsy pand crap? You guys should all know because we did this together.
Oh, it's looking for if it's a blank password.
Yeah. Remember, we were over here in our wonderful STIG viewer. Said Ubuntu operating system must not allow accounts configured with blank or null passwords, right? The check text was to put that in there. And then the fix is this stuff here. But if this produces any output, then you might be able to log on with empty passwords. Okay, now we said we weren't going to do cat 1s together, so let's look at some of these cat 2s. And I really wish that I could make this bigger. The only way I know to make this bigger is to go change the resolution of my laptop screen, which I'm not keen to do because it's only 1080 right now. So hopefully you can see this.
You can change the percentage, like do it 150.
I could do that. Preferences. Do we have? Oh, Zoom.
Wow.
Is that bigger? Does that help?
It's a little better.
Little bit better.
And
It's the same size. I think it's.
when you adjust the window size, I think it
reverted.
It went back to.
Impossible.
Is there like a zoom key?
Oh,
Should
look at
be
this.
like control or.
There's not a zoom key. Just in case.
Like control minus.
I feel like I'm being gaslit into thinking this is bigger now.
No, it's legitimately bigger. All right, so here's the cat2s, right?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the check text. So in reality, I would have to check all of these, but since we can pick, let's pick one that looks like we might be able to automate it, right? That's a decent idea here. So the check text for this one is sudo grep -i kex algorithms, and then blah, blah, blah. Okay. If this is not configured, is commented out, or does not contain only the algorithms, blah, 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 this is a finding. Is a finding a good thing or a bad thing? Wait, a finding is a bad thing?
Is it not?
Yeah, it is a bad thing.
It is a bad thing.
I was like, wait a minute.
Ladies
What?
and gentlemen, gaslighting, da-da-da-da, right? Okay, so that looks fairly easy if we just run this mamma jamma. Then, oh wait, or is this part of the mamma jamma? Oh, we're gonna have to spread this out a little bit.
And it went back.
You think it's small, but it's not. It's all in your head.
I think, is it not going to resize that window again?
I'm pretty sure it's all in your head. And it's small again. Ooh, stick viewer. You and I do not like
think
each
a
other.
government product would be much better.
Okay, let's change it
That's
back
gaslighting.
to 10%. Yeah. No, that's delusion right there. That's what that is. Now let's go back.
Military grade.
Oh, I feel like that's bigger. Okay. So I think this is what it returns. So what we need to do for this one, we need to run this, and then we need to make sure that this matches. So it sounds like if we're writing some pseudocode, we need to run this, receive that input, or receive the output of this command. If it matches this exactly, then we're good. If it doesn't match this, then we're not good. So let's give this a try. Let's grab this right here. Let's pop over to Ubuntu and paste this in. Oh, wait.
Card for 6 hours.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted to paste.
Finish the alternate. Do you need the knife? Yeah. Then I had an oil change.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to copy paste in here. Oh, if you go away, it puts it small again.
Mm-hmm.
Folks at home, I really apologize. These are your tax dollars at work.
Honestly, it would have been. Really?
I just had to go into that directory and just run it like a.
Oh,
He's like, you know, you and me both have the highest mileage, and both of our cars have a high chance to break down going this far. And I was like, yeah, but the rest of them don't want to drive. It'll be you and me.
okay, so it's not configured. So maybe we don't have SSH. Maybe we don't have SSH running on here. How do we check that? Well, you know what? That sounds like that's going to be some work. So let's.
Go to desktop does not come with SSH out of the box.
I'm pretty sure I checked the thing to say enable it, but
Well,
we'll keep moving. So let's look at that one. Looks like it's going to be a little work. So let's keep moving and see what else we can find here. Verify that there are no wireless interfaces configured on the system with the following command. So what is the thing? The Ubuntu operating system must disable all wireless network adapters. This might be okay. The check text is to run this thing. If a wireless interface is configured and has not been documented and approved by the ISSO, this is a finding. So we run this, and if something comes up, then it's a finding. Let's try running that, see what happens. All right, that seems like nothing is configured. If it says their name missing operand. So that directory is not even there. So can we have something wireless configured? Don't think so.
more than likely not.
Okay.
I mean, don't you normally have to do it?
That also looks a little bit messy, maybe. So let's just kind of look through here. must disable automatic mounting of USB mass storage driver. Verify that the Ubuntu operating system disables the ability to load the USB storage kernel module. Run this thing. That looks like a lot. Verify the system commands containing the following directories are group owned. Yeah, this looks like work. Verify that the advanced intrusion detection environment notifies the system administrator when anomalies in the operation of any security function are discovered with the following command. Sudo grep silent reports etc default AIDE silent reports no. If silent reports is uncommented and set to yes, this is a finding. Whoa, boys and girls. This looks like a good, easy one to do. So let's copy this mema jamma. Let's pop over here. Let's paste it in here. That is not what we wanted. Why did you not copy? I do not like you, Sam I am. I said copy. Oh, we just got to get rid of this other thing. Forgive my computer that doesn't want to obey me. Okay. What does this mean? Why do I keep getting no such file or directory? What do you think?
Directory doesn't exist.
Directory doesn't exist. Okay, so what would I do if I was coming over here? What would I put for this, right? Silent reports, etc default, AID. So would this be a finding or not? What do we think, guys? If I was auditing this system and it says the Ubuntu operating system must notify designated personnel if baseline configurations are changed in an unauthorized manner. The file integrity tool must notify the system administrator when changes to the baseline configuration or anomalies in the operation of any security functions are discovered. So if I'm running this command and it says no such file or directory, should I be concerned if I'm auditing this system?
No, because it just says if silent reports is uncommented and set to yes, this is a finding.
But it also says that they should be getting notified. Has anybody ever done this kind of work before?
I have.
Keith, if you were auditing this system and you saw that rule that says they need to notify, but then when you ran the check text, it said that it didn't find this, it couldn't find this, so the AIDE must not be installed or something.
It would be a finding because the module's not there to report from the way I understand this rule. So you would have to then install it and configure it so it is reporting as stated by the rule.
Yeah. Does this look like work?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Do we like work? Heck no. Next. Okay. Check that the AIDE package, check that the AIDE package is installed. Well, it's not. Kind of feels like this should be before that one. Oh, guess what it is? These are written in reverse numerical order. So this seems like the first one you should do. So maybe if we go way down to the bottom, it's going to be easier here. The Ubuntu operating system must provision temporary user accounts with an expiration time of 72 hours or less. Why even have temporary user accounts? The check text, password and account expires. Let's see if there's something easier here. The Ubuntu operating system must enable the graphical user logon banner to display the standard mandatory DoD notice. Well, we're not going to do that. DoD notice. The Ubuntu operating system must retain a user's session lock until that user reestablishes access using established identification and authentication procedures. So we run this. If it comes back true, then then it's fine. If it comes back to anything but true, it's a finding. All right, let's take a look at our system real quick. Now, why am I trying to avoid a ton of work?
Because you're wanting us to have an actual class and learn something, and if you have to take the entire class period to get half of it done, we're not going to see how anything should work.
The focus of this class is automating things, right? We're doing the scripting. The focus of this class is not configuring some tool on here. If we were actually auditing this system, we would have to say, hey, this is a finding. And if they wanted us, after we audited it, if they said, hey, we'll pay you to mitigate these things, then we would have to install that. But we ain't getting paid right now. Well, I guess technically I am.
It's not enough.
All right, so this looks like a great one for us to automate. Because all we're doing is receiving that input and checking to see if it's true or not. Okay? Sound like an easy enough task for us? Then let's try it. Okay. So we have Terminator, so we can do a cool thing called split it vertically. Nice. Okay, sudo gsettings get org.gnome.desktop.screensaver lock enabled is true. Nice. Okay. So let's make this a little bit bigger. All right. So we need to make a bash script. How do we start a bash script? I know people want to do VI, some of them, but we're not going to do that right now. So we're going to call this one, we're going to call it,
Our noobs need to be able to have files too.
this is true. Let's call it seccheck.sh. That sounds fun. Okay, now we're editing it. You can call it whatever you want to. I'm a benevolent dictator. I allow you to call this file whatever you want. All right, so we know what we need to start this with. Shebang or hashbang, not hash1, hashbang, /bin/bash. All right, and then what's good is if we were to make a little header thing up here, which I'm not going to take a lot of time on. You want to make sure you put your name and what the thing does, right? Name, date, course maybe, and what, okay, what does it do? Name, date, etc. What does this script do? All right. Please do not turn something in that has this at the top. I will be upset. Okay? Fill it in with your actual name and the date and what the script actually does. Okay, so we're going to make a little comment here. Check to see. Oops. Verify the Ubuntu operating system has a graphical user interface session lock enabled. Check to see if GUI session lock is enabled. Okay, what if on this version they decided they didn't want to use GNOME? What if they installed KDE instead?
Then you would have to change that portion of the command.
Yep. If you do this command and somebody's installed KDE instead, then you're in trouble, right? That's going to be work. All right, so check to see if GUI session lock is enabled. Now we probably want to print something, but right now let's just see if we can automate just the running of this, okay? So we're within Linux to Linux, we can just highlight this and come over here and click the middle mouse button. Isn't it amazing? Yes, it is. All right, so I'm just going to save this guy over here. Control O, oops, sorry. And then enter, or I can do Control X and then Y. That's why you saw me hit the Y there. So now let's do /seccheck. Is this gonna work? Why not? What'd you say?
You have to stage mod. You have to give it.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Very astute observation.
Do you not have a extra space in there as well?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have that, but we have to change it with chmod plus x sec check. Okay, now will this work?
Should, well, it'll run it. I don't know if your script will work.
It should. We tested that. True. Nice. All right, what do we do from here?
Call it quits.
Yeah.
Go home.
Good job, guys. Everybody gets an A. You're all Linux masters. Okay. Not quite yet. So let's go back to this nano. So we're getting back this true, but we need to, in our bash script, we need to receive this output and we need to compare it to see if it says true. Right? Does anybody know how to do that? Did anybody use that for a previous script that you've done in this class or anywhere for something else? I hear nothing. All right, so what do? Well, we're going to go to our good friend Go Ogle and
How I did it for one of the Cat 1s is I made a script that like took the output and then checked if that output equals true in an if statement, and then the root password was this.
you know, that's all nice to talk about it in high level, but how do we actually code that?
You make a variable that runs the command you just did.
Ooh, a variable that runs a command?
Like a variable define the variable as that,
Oh,
so you can
if-
run the variable in the other statement. I don't know how to say
If
that
A is
correctly.
equal to true.
So let's go back to our little friend here. And the variable I'm going to call, well, that's a long name for a
I
variable.
put it as configuration, as my like config. As the variable.
Let's call it something. I'm going to call it,
Billy.
I'm going to call it check. Check. Sorry, wrong one. Is that going to work?
No,
Why not?
because you need to get rid of the spaces
Oh.
and put it in parentheses with a
Put
dollar
put what in parentheses?
the command.
The whole thing?
No, not the
Just the
variable.
pseudo part.
After the
Okay.
yeah, no. That's
That
not
should be
parentheses.
double.
What's the I thought this was parentheses. What are these called?
Those are apostrophes. I know what you meant.
That's, yeah.
Or those are apostrophes. But
Because
It's a single quote,
yeah.
which is the same button as apostrophe on your computer. But when you said parentheses, I knew what you meant. This is what you meant, right?
No.
Oh!
That prints. That's treating it as like a
I meant like,
a string.
Oh, you want it in parentheses?
yes,
Okay.
and then put a dollar sign ahead of it to like call that. I think that's
Dollar
what
sign. Where do you want the dollar sign?
But in front of the parentheses.
Frowny face.
In front of the frowny face, yes. Divide it.
In the middle of the frowny face.
Like a little mustache.
It's the
Like a weird shaped mustache. All right. Okay, is this going to work then?
I don't know.
If you run the variable inside of an if statement, yes.
Okay. So now we want if. Woo. So we want a conditional.
If and two brackets down there,
So can I ask a question? Why do we need a variable?
so we can call that right then. So it's
Could we just say if that command is
Good.
true?
I think you could, but the variable makes it easier to read,
And so you don't have to.
and you can call it back later if you want to for
Yeah,
something
variables
else.
are.
Do we have need to call it back later?
You might if you wanted.
All right, let's do it this way. Let's see what happens. So check screen lock. There we go. Now let's print it to make sure it's actually coming out true. But we don't want to say print, we want to say echo. You can't tab complete.
Yeah, that's what I've ran into an issue with this Ubuntu.
You just get so lazy
It's
with tab.
ZSH, it's the terminal.
Okay, so now I'm gonna drive.
What?
Yes.
Oh, Z shell?
Yeah, I think this is just straight bash.
Yeah, you should really, so
You can check, I forgot
you can tab complete in bash if it's configured,
but off the default. It's
but I don't know if it's configured by default.
I'm fine with driving.
It's not.
It says he has no problem with driving either. It's me.
All right, echo, check screen lock. So what are we doing here? Let's take a look at this guy. So basically, we are saying, let's make a variable called check screen lock, and we're going to run this command and store it in that variable, whatever the output is. So if the output is true, it's going to store true. If it's false, it's going to store the string false. If the output is cannot find file or anything else, it's going to store that output as check screen lock. So this echo check screen lock just says, hey, let's print whatever we are storing in check screen lock. So I'm going to do Control X, and I want to save it, so I'll hit Y, and then hit Enter because I want to keep the same name. And now I should be able to run this again, and it should print true.
You didn't run it right. I didn't. Did you run the variable? No, you have to put it in parentheses. Quotes with the $sign.
Oh, so
What?
Yeah. So the check screen lock, big quote, double quote. I think you can do a small one, doubles. And then $sign.
What's this $sign business? Is it you just want money? Is that it?
Yes. Give me all your money, DJ. I
So will
need
this
it.
work?
Yes.
Okay, let's try it.
It should work.
You sure it's not just gonna print $sign check screen lock?
It shouldn't. Now, am I making any promises? Never. It works.
Dun, 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 yeah! Okay, so that prints true again. So we had a lot more work to get the same thing to print out.
Hey,
Now what are we gonna do? We checked the screen lock. It's got true in there.
Then you're gonna make an if statement. And then put double brackets.
Double brackets.
Space and then like hard, I don't know what they call them. What's the word? I don't.
Square ones are brackets.
Square ones are brackets, so two brackets, space, two brackets, space, and then call check screen lock the way you just did, like in the echo statement.
Without saying that.
Don't forget your parentheses
Probably be your own car first. That's what you told me. Because you were going down to your house. That's what you said.
or your $sign or your mustache.
That's what I'm saying.
Not gonna work.
Yeah, lowercase.
That's why you don't make your variable names really long. You tend to type it.
Before
I'm
camera.
at my tire appointment.
How many things can we heckle me for? Let's do this, guys. I don't like your parentheses. There are no parentheses. That's a
And then put two equal signs, space and two equal signs. And then you're going to put, what are the things? Asterisks? Asterisks?
Uh-huh.
And then what? And then put true, like the output said. Like so with the capital, I believe it was a capital letter. Or was it lowercase? I don't remember.
I'm sure it was lowercase.
Oh, then it's lowercase. And then another asterisk. Then close your brackets. And then semicolon?
I think you have to say then, right?
Semicolon, then you have to do the semicolon first. Then. And then you can put like an echo statement saying whether, like, so you put the echo statement saying, okay, it was true.
What if we do nothing if there's not a finding?
If there's not a find out.
That seems like less work.
Or
Or you
I wanted
can-
out, you said you wanted
can
output to
echo
make it
state
pretty.
So if
saying
it's false, then
system
do
is compliant with-
Oh, you could do it, you could put false then, and then put,
that. Well, false would be like, right, then you have to do something.
yeah. If false, then do
System
something.
is good.
I don't know.
You're gonna have to get your tabs.
Yes, watch the video.
And then just else. And then in the else statement, you would have to fix your issue.
Well, we don't actually have to, but probably a good idea.
If you wanted to automate
Do
it.
we say else here? Do we need to,
No,
do we need to tab it in?
it needs to be tabbed in. Wait,
The else needs to be underneath the if, so it needs to be aligned with the if. It doesn't need to be tabbed.
Wait, why is there a semicolon there? I've never seen that before.
What should we do? Else, what,
And then whatever we need to do to say, you can echo and say it is not compliant.
well, if we're gonna automate the fixing of this.
we're not gonna automate the fixing yet.
Okay.
Oh, we're not.
So right now, we're just gonna tell them, right?
Then you need to tab, you need to hit enter again and tab in and say echo,
So like if I want to remove like
it's not compliant or whatever.
I do RM
System
one
needs
semicolon RM
to be
two,
configured
etc.
for this fix.
Oh, it's control U. I keep wanting to do control Y.
Well, if you used Vim, it would be a lot easier.
You don't get stuck in them, you always escape colon WQ or escape colon.
Does this look good?
No, because it still says the system has screen lock enabled.
Wait, don't you need feed?
What's Vim? V is the original Vim, so knockoff. Select next generation.
Okay, this look good?
You would need to put a fee statement at the end and to cancel your if.
A fee statement.
Fee. If backwards.
No,
If I.
Fee equals $1 million.
Yeah. Very expensive. Wouldn't it just be fit if it's if backwards?
I like to think it's I don't know my English linguistics alphabet or whatever.
Fee FIFO.
Let's run it. It's free. Oh, look at that. Fancy.
Or
So,
you could even make it fancier and make it a function.
a local man was killed after a bash scripting class at UAH today. Written in blood beside him was, here's what I think about your function. It's unclear which bodily function has ticked people off enough to make them kill him.
All of them.
All right, so yeah, if you're gonna make a tool, it might be nice to have a function in there. But I think this gets the job done as far as checking it. Okay, so should we be satisfied with this?
No.
No. Why? What have we not checked? We haven't checked to see if screen lock is disabled. Will it tell us that the system's not compliant? So how are we going to do that?
You gotta disable it.
We're going to disable the screen lock. How do we disable the screen lock?
Go to
I would
file.
imagine you go back to that STIG viewer and you do the opposite of what it tells you to do.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Okay, fixed text. Configure the Ubuntu operating system to allow. If the Ubuntu operating system does not have a graphical user interface installed, this requirement is not applicable. Set the lock enabled setting to allow graphical user interface session locks with the following command. Ah,
I changed true at the very end of that to false.
okay.
Give her a
Copy
shot.
that. Copy that. Okay, now let's run our sec check. Oh, everybody, can we have a round of applause? We We are basically amazing. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
We did something. Okay, now let's not forget to turn this back on.
Yeah, you know,
Or in the
maybe-
process of testing all of our stuff, we make our system completely insecure.
But we could leave it off and then automate the turning it on.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
So that way it does it for you, we got more work now.
No, we need to.
I'm here for your education.
So here's what I want to do. I want to do something kind of cool. I want to ask the user if they would like to if they would like to enable the screen lock. And let them say yes or no. Ooh.
Would you want to ask them that? I thought your job's to make it secure and
Well,
make
so here, well, never mind, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So the STIGs are security technical implementation guides or guidelines, right? So they're not mandatory. If you do not enable it because you have a reason, there's a box for comments and you can justify why. So there are some command centers that have a computer running and a dashboard up 24/7, 365. You don't want that screensaver to come on and lock the computer. That system needs to be up all the time. So for that system, you wouldn't enable it and you would justify why you have not enabled that, and then you would provide your mitigation. So for security purposes, we did not enable this, and we are mitigating the security of the system by having 24-hour guard presence to ensure that somebody's not doing something malicious, something like that. Right.
So imagine you go to the doctor and the doctor says,
you have tonsils, get them out.
yeah, the doctor doesn't say you have tonsils, get them out. The doctor says, say and you do, notices there are tonsils back there, and then says, hey, does this rag smell like chloroform? And then you wake up and your tonsils are gone. Probably talking about a lawsuit or kiss your rear end goodbye because you've been abducted by a psychopath, right? So that's not what you want, okay? This is what we talked about before, and this is a big misnomer. Compliance does not equal security. Just because I put my seatbelt on does not mean that I'm magically safe and nothing's going to happen to hurt me in that car, right? But riding in the car with your seatbelt on lowers and minimizes the risk that you'll get thrown out of the car or shaken up inside the car if it flips over, right? Compliance does not equal security, but compliance can help minimize risk. And you have to do things that make sense for your organization. When I was at SAIC, I told you guys this story before, I think. We had this retired military lady, retired colonel lady, who wanted a perfect score on our DFARS compliance. And one of the items on there said that you can't, to get a perfect score was like 110 or something, but 85 or above was acceptable. She wanted a perfect score. So that meant that on our Outlook web access, which was the only way I could download it because my computer was not joined to the domain, because I, at exercises, would do all kinds of nefarious things, pretending to be bad guys, and sometimes I would let my machine be a server where I was doing some stuff, and they didn't want my machine coming from that kind of crap and getting put back on SAIC's environment. And that's kind of how I sold them, let me manage my own cybersecurity. But one problem with that is they didn't join their domain, so I couldn't use Outlook, because that's another thing is Outlook, the web, the desktop application, you had to be domain joined to use that. And so I had to use Outlook Web Access. One of the lines in the DFARS compliance said that you can't download attachments from your email if you use Outlook Web Access. So I found myself in a situation where the only way I could access my email was through Outlook Web Access, and I could not download attachments from that email. Do you know how embarrassing it was to be a top cybersecurity professional and not able to download attachments from email? Incredibly embarrassing. And no matter, I fought for over 2 years with them because it's not secure. Well, we have to be secure. Well, it's not secure. And in fact, I found that enabling that pushed people to just use Google. So they would send it to their own Gmail or Yahoo Mail or something else. So it resulted in a net effect of everything being less secure and more of that information being put in places where you wouldn't want it to be. So this is where we have to kind of use if you're going in to do compliance, you really just want to point out to someone, hey, you guys aren't compliant with this thing, and you talk with them. Because the person that's in charge of that network or that system might say, okay, I understand what this risk is, and I accept the risk that is involved with not having screen lock on, right? Like Keith said, there may be a reason to not enable screen lock. And so whoever is at the local place who's in charge of this network, they're the ones who get to decide whether they want to accept the risk with not being compliant in this area. And sometimes some compliance has scores associated with it, and your score has to be above so much. So if we want to be a dictatorship and say, you're not compliant, you will be compliant, then we just notice that this is not compliant and we automatically fix it, right? When else might we want to automatically fix it? If these are our computers and we've determined we want screen lock on for all of them, and we're just using this script to push it out to all the machines on our network, we might say, hey, we're the ones that have the decision authority for that, we're going to do it. If we're in a cyber defense competition and we're trying to secure this operating system, we might want to say, hey, just go ahead and enable that, right? So for Cyber Patriot, if you go work with the Cyber Patriot folks and you're trying to help them automate something, they probably just want to go ahead and enable this. But we're going to prompt the user to say, hey, this is not compliant. Would you like to enable it? Would you like to enable it? And if they say yes, then we're going to enable it for them. Because this is easy and we can do it. We've just done it right here, right? One command line. We may not want to install AIDE for them. That's a little bit tougher. So this looks easy enough, so we're going to get this low-hanging fruit. All right, so my intent was to split the screen and use half of it to run the stuff and half of it to program with, so maybe I should do that. Let's go back to the Nano. Okay. Screw it. I think I can close that one, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, so here's what we have so far. What we don't have in here, we don't have any comments to say what we're doing, right? So if you're watching this at home, or maybe if you're sitting here and you're like, what is even happening here? What's happening with this part right here? So let me do this, and I'm gonna, I over-comment my code. But let's just make this little section here. Uh-oh. I just want to separate this stuff out. Okay, so here's our little thing, right? So check to see if the GUI session lock is enabled. That's what this whole thing does. So right here, run the check command and store the result in the variable check screen lock. Okay, everybody understand what that means? Mm-hmm. We're just running it and we're storing that variable. Okay, and now if the Command returned true. Let's see. Oops.
BJ, do you remember the STIG number for this one?
If you just look at the STIG for Ubuntu 20.04.
Cat 2, but there's a long list.
Oh, you mean for this? Okay.
Yeah,
For like that.
So
STIG
not
ID.
this.
Yeah, I should have said that.
Because I was,
You're saying
It's 199.
this right here?
Okay.
That's the group ID. This is the STIG ID. I thought you were asking what were the STIG for the whole operating system was. Yeah. All right, that's not a bad idea right here.
then put that up there.
To put it up here. Yeah, I like that idea.
You would want to do that, and a lot of the automation, like the Ansible scripts and stuff, are gonna identify those numbers. As it's just checking.
Up to. You know what? Just gonna copy that. Oh, somebody got home.
Like I know how to do it.
Wasn't
From
there?
trial and error, we figured it out. He had a video.
There's
I
not.
don't even think Mike ever looked
I
at
haven't
the
even
video.
got the
Looked at
brakes
the-
on.
Okay, so we got this. So if the command returned true, tell the user they're compliant. Otherwise, no. That's the one thing I hate about this keyboard. You have to hold function to use home. And I use that a lot more than page up. So I don't know why page up takes priority. Otherwise, tell the user that they are not compliant. Okay, so now we've commented our code. So I'm going to do Control O and save that. All right, now we need to ask the user if they want us to fix it for them. How are we going to do that?
We're going to make a,
Another if statement.
Wait, hold on, James. You've done a lot. Let's slow down now. Another if statement.
Mhm.
If, and then brackets? No
Yes.
brackets? Okay.
So I would copy the first part of that upper command. So if check screen lock equals and then false instead of the true there, then or I don't know, will we say doesn't equal true?
That's what I was going to suggest.
Or would we, yeah. Doesn't equal, and then we change it to true, back, the false back to true.
There's a lot of different ways you could go with it. We could also say, let's have an if it's this. If it's false, then we're going to ask them if they want it to fix it for us. If it's anything other than true or false, then we say, hey, figure this out yourself, chump. We could do that.
So if it does not equal true, right?
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah, not equal false and equal true.
Does not equal true.
different.
Then, and now we would echo the question.
Oh, he stopped studying. He
So echo, would you like to
Bro, you don't need it.
enable?
He does that every time.
screen
Bro, he
lock?
does bad. He's like, I need it.
Bro, did this same as me.
The things that you could have done better. You could have done
And then, probably, would we
No,
want to
so
include
echo
the
bash.
options we're looking for, so like
already knew.
Y
It must be
or
done.
N or yes or no?
Now what must be one?
And second of
So
all, I
in
developed
the
the
quote, so the
communication
user knows
system for all.
what we're looking for.
He kept tapping on him, and he started tapping on him, but I
And then
developed-
colon
I
space.
was trying to live. He says,
No,
Oh,
inside,
right
inside
here?
the quote, yeah, so that it's
that's
formatted
crazy. But you
nicely.
did the same thing. You wrote 47.
And then we would,
Which is crazy, because
want
I didn't
user
ask either
input.
of y'all for anything. I just did it.
And where do you want me to put user input? Next line right after it.
Just go through it. It's like, because realistically, having each other uses, if you really were gonna do that, just change it. I don't know why y'all asked each other.
How would you do this?
Because I didn't like the reverse.
That's okay. We
I
can
would,
we can Google it.
I don't know, I would aim for it to be on the same line.
Okay.
So I maybe space and then put,
How do you want me to spell user input?
I forget what it is for that.
Let's look it up. See, this is the beauty of it. We can work through this together. Bash accept user input. No internet. How have we been living with no internet?
I could have used it. I just didn't.
I've had to touch it. 25. I was like, bro, no way. We were stressing way too much.
When I would notice what?
It's
okay.
Leave you hanging the whole time.
It was here.
Okay. How do I read user input? I don't like that. So read -p, enter full name. Full name. If you like to get the user's confirmation, read -p, continue, yes, no, confirm, and.
I think that's what we want, we just changed.
We all, class is over.
We go. What time is that?
We
Okay.
changed the continue.
I have to go to the crash center.
It was like 10 minutes or so.
Crash center? What did you do?
I know. Eric went to the motorcycle dealership.
Where are you picking up what? The apartment?
We gotta read P.
Because his mom is going to use his
You
car.
do realize we're recording, and you guys are talking loud enough, it's probably recording you. So if those are private conversations.
It's not
Alright.
my motorcycle dealership.
All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and paste this in here on the next line just so we can see what it looks like. Okay. So it's probably going to be easier for us to grab this. No, doesn't like to let me use my mouse for that. Okay, so read
So we
dash
just
P.
take out the echo statement, so that we're not
Yeah,
doubling up.
we can do that.
Tap it in.
Would you like to enable screen lock, yes or no, and store that as confirm. And we also want to do if confirm equals little y or big Y, or if confirm equals any combination of capital and lowercase that spells yes, then we're going to exit 1.
I was also going to ask, would it make more sense to not include sudo in your command and then require it before you run the script?
Yeah, that might be a good.
Would that make more sense in a practical view?
Really depends what your application is here, right?
Because I mean, if
So-
you're asking the user.
Because it's
you
going to end
probably
up the
would-
same way.
It depends, because some changes might not need sudo, so running the whole thing in sudo, you kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a discussion for another day.
Okay.
But it really depends on your application. If you want to run the whole script as sudo and not have to worry about it, if you're confident that what you're doing here is exactly what you want to do, and you're going to be the one running it, and you just don't want to have to type the sudo password a billion times, then run the whole thing as sudo, you're fine. If you want to make sure that whoever's running this actually has the authority to do that, then you're going to want to ask them to do that, right? That's more of a philosophical question and an application question. Right now, for us, we're not too worried about that. We're worried more about typing this out. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it if we have to. So I understand what's going on. We're going to read user input.
Yeah.
We're going to ask them if they want to enable screen lock. We're going to let them type something in. If they type in potato chip, and we're going to store whatever they type in as confirm, okay? And this and we could put this on a different line if we want to, but and that's maybe what we should do for readability. And let's try that, actually. Right? So if confirm equals yes, a little y or big Y, or any combination of capital and lowercase that spells yes, then exit 1. What is exit 1 going to do?
Continue.
All right, what happens if they did type in potato chip, and so it doesn't match? Is it going to exit 1?
It shouldn't.
So what's it going to do?
Nothing yet.
Is it going to crash? Let's try it. After all, it's free to try, right?
System alive.
Ooh. System does not have screen lock enabled and is not compliant. Line 31, syntax error, unexpected end of file. Yeah.
We ended the file in the middle of an if statement.
Yeah, we did. Can't do that now, can we? So if we do this, and then save it, and say yes. Would you like to enable screen lock? Potato chip. It's like, dude, you're nuts. I'm out. So do you think it enabled the screen lock?
No.
Well, we didn't put the command in there. So if it did, then we're dealing with some sentient AI, and I'm canceling class, and I'm going to move off the grid somewhere. All right. So what if we say yes?
How would you add a statement?
It also does nothing.
How
Huh?
would you add a statement to that? If you're doing it that way, how would you add it like an alternative? Like you would use the asterisk as like an unexpected input?
What do you mean when you say if you're doing it that way? If you're doing it which way?
Because I did it completely different, so I was just wondering. Would you just put another else statement inside of that, or?
Well, we're going to need something here, right?
Yes.
So if check screen lock is not true, then we're going to ask them, would you like to enable screen lock? And then it's going to accept their input and store it as confirm. And then we're going to check to see if confirm is yes or Y. And if so, we're going to exit 1. So we need to somehow tell it what to do. Does exit 1 mean get out of the conditional statement, out of the if statement?
That would be. I was wondering why you would want to exit if you confirm it, then you should run the script you had earlier in order to go ahead and enable it.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to get rid of this exit 1, right? And continue this statement here. So
Would you not double type it?
Oh, that's the actual.
Or is that?
So I want to make this a little bit more readable for us, right? So I'm going to put a nested if statement. If confirm is yes or that.
You could echo like it went through or enable.
So
I did the action and then echo what that.
yeah, so it said read-p, would you like to enable screen lock, yes or no, and store that as confirm, okay? So we're storing whatever they type in as this thing called confirm. It's going to check to see if confirm is yes, or is a capital Y or lowercase y, or any combination of capital and lowercase that spells yes, and if so, then we are going to run the fix command, which is back over here.
It's right there.
Oop, come here. All right. So we're gonna run that if it's true.
That's what it's saying while it's not.
All right.
That's what the
I guess it is.
This one it's else. If it's
That
true,
looks like
like
it's
it's
more
or
hard
then
than
else, and then it's if not equal.
Yeah, I think we're zoomed in really a lot. It does look a lot more than 4 or 5 spaces per tab.
Else exit one.
Not done like that. Right.
I guess I haven't really been
You,
typing
and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea before you exit to kind of give them a heads up as to what happened.
Yeah.
So if yes, okay, and then say something, echo
Your screen.
lock enabled or something along those lines, and else.
So for this one, we probably want to say and echo no changes. Oh, screen lock.
You're exiting no screen lock enabled.
Yeah, if it's not equal to true. Yeah.
And for this one, yeah, scheme lock. It's the new version. The R just didn't fit.
Have to pay more for the arm.
And in reality, if we're going to make this a robust program, we would want to make sure that screen lock, we want to check again to make sure that it was compliant, right? So we want to run that check and say, okay, now is it equal to true after we ran this thing? I'm not going to make you guys be that thorough for this. I'll be happy, if you just do it. Because what could we do? Well, we could run the compliance checker again after we run through everything. So if you guys want to be that thorough, you can. What I'm really trying to do with this class is introduce you to automation and scripting. I'm not trying to make you masters of automation and scripting or master production tool developers. We're just trying to learn how to get introduced to this. So I'm not going to have super high expectations for you guys to have these finished, polished products. But if you want to put some time into that, and you're going to put this on your GitHub or whatever, then that'll be kind of nice for people to see that you did take the time. And people will notice if you do or do not do that. So we're going to echo screen lock enabled. Yeah, and I'm probably, instead of doing an and, I'm going to keep this a little more precise and just put it on a new line. Else exit one and echo that thing. Okay. So we'll go back and code comment this in just a second. But for right now, wait, are we really almost done with class?
Yes.
This is not fair. This class flies by.
Well,
So control.
it's fun, DJ. Time flies when you're having
Okay,
fun.
so now, let's test it, right? Okay, unexpected end of file. No! That's not what we wanted, is it? Okay. So let's go back here. What's going on?
You're exiting
Oh, you
inside the if statement.
Yeah, you gotta.
We have 2 if statements, remember?
And then we need another fee.
So we have to put another guy right there. Okay. And now we're going to save that. Okay. So hopefully it doesn't mess up. Would you like to enable screen lock?
Yes,
Is it going to work, guys?
maybe.
All right. Let's just hope. Yes. Screen lock enabled. Woo! All right.
DJ,
Now,
do you rig all of your timing? Do
What'd you say?
you rig your timing that finish all your adventures right at the end of the 30
I
minute
think
time
it-
slot?
yeah, I think
Because
it's with the timing.
I stopped playing around. You notice I kind of go slow, right?
Yeah,
All right. All right. So check. Now we're going to run this again to make sure that when the security check does it, it really did get enabled. Because secretly we know we echoed that it was enabled, but we didn't really check it. So let's run it again. Woohoo! All right, everybody. Round of applause for us. All right.
I feel like that takes a lot less space than doing a while statement.
Yeah.
Woohoo! All right. We're the best. Okay. So, all right. So we now have scripted checking, prompting the user, and mitigating something. So this is the first step toward greatness. So remember, you're gonna go back to these. You're gonna be working on these Cat 1s. All right. Now, if I will let you guys do this, okay? I will say you have to do at least, I said before 5 Cat 1s. Let's say now at least 3 Cat 1s, and I'll let you do a couple of Cat 2s, okay? And I haven't looked through all the Cat 1s to see if there are some that are a little bit easier. I would like you guys to do some serious ones, but my goal here, like I said, is not to make you do production development, right? All right. I'm proud of you guys. We've got this.
If we do
So-
more, do we get extra credit?
Yeah.
Like if I do 10?
Yes, sure. Absolutely. All right, so remember we're not meeting, we're not meeting next week. We won't meet during the week of Thanksgiving. So I'm not going to see you guys again until
Week before final.
like the 27th or something. So you can reach out to me. You've got the rest of the class as your group to ask questions. If we need to meet at some point, I'm happy to do a pop-up, like a Zoom meeting or something, right? So folks at home, if you run into trouble, you need help, just let us know. Use the class, use the Discord server. All right, bye folks at home. Everybody say bye to the folks at home. Bye, bye. Hopefully this new Ultra quality means you can actually read crap. And thank Josh again if it did.